The new Bitcoin all-time high is $77,000, and new all-time highs yet in play again. ADGs, send it, let's get it. In today's show, I'll be breaking down the latest technical analysis as well as breaking news. A new leak reveals BlackRock is quietly doubling down on Bitcoin. And speaking of that, BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF is officially bigger than its gold ETF with $33.2 billion in assets in just 10 months. Let that one sink in. Now, Tom Lee of FundStrat says Bitcoin is potentially a Treasury reserve asset that can help offset the U.S. deficit, predicting 150,000 before the end of the year. Send it. We'll also be discussing the latest as investor confidence spikes post-U.S. election regarding all these ETF inflows, which are unprecedented, as well as ex-Alameda Research CEO Caroline Ellison to report to prison for her 2-year sentence, which is about to begin. We'll also be discussing Senator Cynthia Lummis reaffirms vision for a strategic Bitcoin reserve in America. The lawmaker's bullish statement comes in the wake of the pro-crypto candidate sweeping most of the seats in just the concluded polls. We'll also be discussing how high realistically can the Bitcoin price climb before Trump's inauguration in the next 60 to 90 days. Some analysts are projecting as high as 200,000. We'll also be discussing PlanB's Bitcoin price roadmap to 1 million per coin starts playing out now. I'll be sharing the rest of his prediction. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this, plus so much more, in today's show. If you're new to the channel, very important to smash the likes and go ahead and subscribe to #1 Day the Bitcoin Pod. Then hit the bell icon. Turn on all notifications to receive daily premium crypto news alerts every day like this. Today is Pod 1812. Bitcoin broke out to a brand new all-time high yesterday, tapping 77,000 while we were live on stream with our Trump Pump watch. Today, it's looking to retest that 77,000 all-time high as we're still in the green, trading above 76,400 at the time of this recording and live stream, obviously. And checking out Coin 360, you can see we're just above 76.4. Ether looking to test 3,000 and hasn't been at this high in a very long time. Cardano, big mover today, up 17%. Solana up 4%. Virtually most of the major alts pumping and in the green. And checking out CoinMarketCap.com. The current crypto market cap stands at $2.52 trillion. The Bitcoin market cap broke 1.5 yesterday, still sitting above there. We have roughly 133 billion worth of volume in the past 24 hours, with the Bitcoin dominance all the way past 60.2%, a new high, and the Ether dominance is back on the rise as well at 14.1% after tapping a low in the 12 to 13% range. And checking out the top 100 crypto gainers past 24 hours, Kronos leading the pack, up 25%, Cardano up 16%, and Polygon Matic up 15%. Which alts are you most bullish on for the bull? Let me know, and I'll read those comments out loud in a bit. And checking out the crypto bubbles, get a visual perspective on the day. I'd say 65% of the market in the green, 35% in the red. And checking out, let's actually go back there for the month, get a broader perspective. And maybe 90% of the market in the green on the month, only 10% in the red. So crypto making some big moves. The crypto greed and fear index yesterday hit a high of 77 in extreme greed. Today we're back down 75, giving us more room to climb. Last week was a 75 and last month a 49, which is neutral. And checking out the time chain calendar. We have 180,555 blocks to go into the next halving of 2028. We're currently on block number 869,445, and you can currently exchange $1 for 1,310 Satoshis. So please stack them sats accordingly. And today's show is brought to you by TrumpOne.com. That's TrumpWON.com. And it's ultimately a domain for sale, and it's going to go to the highest bidder. If you have an interest in purchasing this particular domain, TrumpOne.com, the winner is also going to get Invest Like Trump winning.com. Go ahead and email your bid to info@thewinningest.com to submit your offer. The best offer will win this silent auction. Thank God Trump won. America will be great again. So there you go, yo. Let's dive into today's technical analysis. We'll also pull up some of the live charts and share with you guys what's going on in the markets right now. This headline reads, Bitcoin price sets fresh all-time high near 77, practically 77. It was 76,999 via Coinbase amid long squeeze fears. Here you're looking at a 1 hour chart. I'll be pulling up the live chart here shortly after I get through this. Trading view showed modest Bitcoin gains, mostly holding after the daily close. These came in a fashion similar to the previous day, with a sudden push during the Wall Street trading session, seeing new all-time highs of 77,000. The volatility came as the U.S. Fed lowered interest rates by an expected 0.25%. And after the FOMC meeting, Fed Chairman Jay Powell said risk factors impacting his dual inflation and employment mandate were roughly in balance. Quoting him here, recent indicators suggest economic activity has continued to expand at a solid pace. Since early in the year, the labor market conditions have generally eased and the unemployment rate has moved up but remains low. Inflation has made progress towards the committee's 2% objective, but remains somewhat elevated. They're still pretending to have inflation under control, family, at under 2%. It's hilarious, isn't it? But anyways, markets were in agreement over the Fed's course of action November 8th per data from the CME Group FedWatch tool. Consensus favored that 0.25% cut at the next meeting in mid-December, which is next month. Continue to cut the rates and send Bitcoin to the moon. The Kabisi letter said the Fed's pivot on interest rates could still be at a risk if the longer-term inflation trends were to pick up, quoting them here. Ultimately, we expect to follow the long-term inflation expectations, which have not ticked higher yet. However, if these do begin rising, as they now stand at 2.1%, we believe the Fed pivot would be at risk. This is a big if, but anything is possible as we head into 2025. Now, Bitcoin showed little signs of concern over macroeconomic minutia as it set a new all-time high and its highest ever daily close. Bitcoin up 8% month to date at this time, with Q4 gains sitting at 20% as calculated by CoinGlass, and we're still early here in Q4, family, quoting them here. High leverage liquidity, suggesting that trading would not be the best strategy in the current climate. I think HODL be thy name is the smartest bet, family. Quoting them here, Crypto Mutant, expecting a little pump before this overheated market makes a correction. In case of correction, the 72.6 level must hold to keep the sentiments positive. And before I pull up the live charts, big breaking news right before I went live. A leak has been revealed that BlackRock is quietly doubling down on Bitcoin as per Forbes. As the headline reads right here, it says Bitcoin's going to suddenly rocket towards 100,000 with BlackRock quietly doubling down on Bitcoin. And in other breaking news, BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF is officially bigger than gold. ETF, that is. Take that, Peter Schiffmeister. We got 33.2 billion in assets in just under 10 months. Unprecedented levels of the biddy. And in other breaking news, Tom Lee of Fundstrat says Bitcoin is potentially a Treasury Reserve asset that can help offset the deficit, predicting 150,000 Bitcoin rocket before the end of the year. Let me know if you agree or disagree with the bullishness that I just shared with you, and pulling up some of the live chat or charts. This is live and in the flesh right now via Coinbase, via TradingView. This is a 10-minute chart. You can see Bitcoin's doing its thing. Let's zoom out just a bit. Check out the 1 day. 1 day big green candle in play. You already know. We'll check out the 1 hour. Un hora right here. 1 hour chart, big green candle, as you can see as well. We had a nice little corrective candle, but Bitcoin right back where we left off in the swing. And checking out the 4 hour chart. Wow, looky here. You saw that massively green candle. Incredible. We do have a bullish pennant formation on the 4 hour. Very bullish. We have an 81,300 blue target, and the bullish pennant target sits at 78.8, which will take us to yet new all-time highs yet again. So there you have it, yo. And zooming out from there, let's take a quick brief look at the weekly, which still has that 124,000 cup and handle target right there in the red. You also have a rising wedge formation on the weekly. So things are looking pretty bullish. Respect the pump, new all-time highs in play. Let's discuss these ETF inflows. Bitcoin just did tap 77 as investor confidence spikes post U.S. election. And as I just shared with you a little earlier as well, you see these unprecedented levels of the Bitcoin ETF, now officially bigger than the gold ETF, and it only took 10 months. Let that one sink in. And as I shared earlier, a leak just revealed BlackRock quietly doubling down on its Bitcoin. So you already know massive bullishness in the markets. According to a November 8th research note from trading firm QCP Capital, investor optimism around Republican presidential win could push Bitcoin way past 77. I mean, we already tapped 77. We're probably about to break that here shortly. Quoting them here, unprecedented net inflows of 1.38 billion into Bitcoin spot ETF yesterday, coupled with optimism from Trump's victory and widely anticipated 25 BPS Fed cut, propelled Bitcoin to 77,000 early this morning. And here's the proof of work. Bitcoin rose to 76,999 last night at 8:15 UTC, as shared right here on the chart. Continued inflows into the spot Bitcoin ETFs could push Bitcoin to a new all-time high, according to historical patterns observed in the previous bull markets following the Bitcoin halving events. The post-halving bull market is expected to last through the third quarter of 2025. So visualize with me, broskies. Could you imagine Bitcoin hitting a new all-time high, re-entering price discovery mode practically every day for the next year? Let that sink in, bro. BitGet research analyst Ryan Lee expects Bitcoin to breach 100,000 before the end of 2024. Same as FundStrat's Thomas Lee. He's predicting, as I shared earlier here, 150,000 before the end of the year, with Bitcoin as potentially a treasury reserve asset that can help offset the U.S. deficit. Let me know if you agree or disagree with that. Now, Bitcoin to overtake other risk assets on China tariff fears. Well, let's discuss that. Bitcoin could outperform other risks on assets like gold and traditional equities. Max Kaiser says for every dollar increase you see in gold, Bitcoin will 20x. So $20 for every dollar increase in gold. This is partly because of Trump's expected 60% tariff on China, according to QCP, who shared here. As markets consider Trump's proposed 60% tariff on China and fiscal concerns like the rising national debt, we expect Bitcoin to carry less risk premium compared to equities, potentially positioning it to outperform other risk on assets. Trump proposed a 60% tariff on Chinese imports, a significant increase from 7.5% to 25% rate during his first term. Now, here's the record inflows for Bitcoin ETFs post-election. Spot Bitcoin ETF inflows recorded a new all-time high in net inflows on the day of the Trump victory. The U.S. spot Bitcoin ETF saw over 1.3 billion worth of cumulative net inflows November 7th, according to Farside data. As you can see on your screen, the post-election investor optimism could lead to increasingly more spot and ETF buying. Common sense. This sustained bullishness in Bitcoin could also create a feedback loop with rising ETF inflows boosting the Bitcoin prices, which in turn attracts more retail capital and systemic fund buying as volatility continues to decline. So there you go, yo. Unprecedented Bitcoin ETF inflows. I think the institutional FOMO is just beginning. Let me know your thoughts. We broke down the latest ETF inflows. Other news, Caroline Ellison, the former CEO of, Alameda Research, and Bankman-Fried's orgy partner, allegedly, from the Bahamas, an ex-girlfriend, is about to report to prison for her 2-year sentence. So let's break this one down. As you know, Bankman-Fried is serving 25 years in prison. And who knows, though? He may get pardoned by Biden before he leaves office, so you just never know. But anyways, former Alameda Research CEO Caroline Ellison is expected to report to prison November 7th. Wow, that means she's in prison now because November 7th was yesterday, to serve her 2-year sentence for her role in crimes at crypto exchange FTX. At this time, the Federal Bureau of Prisons website stated Ellison was not in custody, but provided an inmate number and her age, race, and sex. On September 24th, Judge Lewis Kaplan of the U.S. District Court of the Southern District of New York sentenced Ellison to 2 years in prison, where she's expected to surrender no earlier than November 7th. So allegedly, she's in prison right now. According to Judge Kaplan, the BOP ordered Ellison to appear at a correctional facility before 2 p.m. yesterday. The former Alameda CEO is expected to surrender at a minimum security facility near Boston, suggesting she could serve her time at the Federal Correction Institution in Danbury, Connecticut, which houses both male and female inmates. Ellison would be the third individual named in the indictment of FTX and Alameda execs to report to prison following the trial and conviction of former FTX CEO Bankman-Fried and his guilty plea from former FTX Digital Markets co-CEO Ryan Salami. Judge Kaplan sentenced Nishad, a former engineer and director of FTX, to time served in October. So there you go. Now in 2022, after the FTX collapse, Ellison pleaded guilty to 7 counts of wire fraud, commodities fraud, securities fraud, money laundering related to the misuse of user funds between the crypto exchange and Alameda. She also testified at the 2023 criminal trial of Bankman-Fried, whom she briefly dated and had some wild orgies with, according to the rumors circulating in the cryptosphere, which resulted in a guilty verdict on all counts. Now, next to Bankman-Fried, Ellison was arguably one of the most prominent public faces of the FTX collapse in November 2022. When the exchange experienced a liquidity crisis, the CEO resigned and the firm filed for bankruptcy. Prosecutors noted a September sentencing memo. Ellison had been the subject of intense attention and harassment by the public and the media. Well, if you lost all of your money in FTX, you know what I mean? You'd probably be harassing whoever's behind that as well, especially if they broke the law, in which she clearly did. She pled guilty, did she not? Now, while the public scrutiny of criminal defendants or cooperators' criminal misconduct is understandable, Ellison endured far more than that, said the U.S. government filing. She was mobbed outside the courthouse for comment and photographs. Yeah, same thing with Michael Jordan. I mean, Jesus. Making it difficult to enter and exit without an escort. Wow, she needed a bodyguard. Her physical appearance was scrutinized and criticized. Oh my God, did they scrutinize her physical appearance because she's so beautiful? And she was mocked in memes and other content on social media. Well, of course, that's what social media does. It's meme world around yonder. FTX co-founder Gary Wang will likely be the last person in the indictment to face Judge Kaplan for sentencing. And like Singh, he asked the court to sentence him to time served following a guilty plea. And for his testimony at Bankman-Fried's trial, he's scheduled to be sentenced November 20th, 12 days out. So how do you think these next 2 years will likely impact Caroline Ellison? Will she become a changed woman and walk away from that life of crime, kind of like Bonnie and Clyde, Bankman-Fried, and Caroline Ellison? Will she change her ways and learn her lesson? Or will it have no impact at all? And will she go back to her old ways? Let me know. And do you think that 2-year sentence is fair, considering the scope of the fraud and the crimes in which were committed? See, Hillbilly Will says Caroline Ellison is so hot. Fire, fire, fire. She's going to come out as a tattooed thug. Oh no. Caroline the thug. Dankness, that's hilarious. Cynthia Lummis reaffirms vision for a strategic Bitcoin reserve in the USA. Wyoming Senator Lummis reiterated her commitment to establish a strategic Bitcoin reserve in the states. The lawmaker, known for her strong pro-crypto stance, highlighted these plans following the recent Republican victories in the Senate, more so of largely digital asset-friendly legislators. In the November 6th post, Lummis confidently declared, "We are going to build a strategic Bitcoin reserve," signaling a renewed push to move Bitcoin with legislation she introduced earlier in the year. The senator's proposal, dubbed the Boosting Innovation, Technology, and Competitiveness Through Optimized Investment Nationwide Act, or Bitcoin for short, would direct the U.S. Treasury to buy 1 million Bitcoin over 5 years. Now, 1 million Bitcoin is roughly 5% of the circulating Bitcoin supply. Let's go. Additionally, it emphasized long-term Bitcoin investment, mandating that the crypto be held at least 20 years. Now that's a hodl in secure wallets managed by the government agencies. Lummis has been a prominent voice for crypto since her election to Congress in 2021, and although not on the ballot in just the concluded polls, the 70-year-old maintained her active support for blockchain and crypto initiatives throughout the 2024 campaign period. Her proposal was built on the idea floated by Trump at the 2024 conference in Nashville, and at the event, Trump suggested the U.S. government should stop selling any Bitcoin seized in law enforcement operations, but instead build it into a strategic stockpile that would allow it to dominate the crypto sector and even help pay off the country's multi-trillion-dollar debt. He also said he'd like to make the United States a Bitcoin mining hub for the entire world. Yeah, I mean, making it the hub. So this is Bitcoin country, just saying. It remains to be seen how Senator Lummis' proposal will fare as it makes its way through legislative channels. However, her seeming confidence in the successful passage of the Bitcoin Act stems from the results of the just concluded election, which saw 278 pro-crypto candidates make it to Congress. And additionally, the Republicans now hold a majority in both the Senate and House of Representatives after flipping 3 Senate seats. In a testament to the industry's optimism, as you know, Bitcoin's been making continuous new all-time highs, I think 4 since election night, 4 or 5. We re-entered price discovery yesterday. The new all-time high is 77,000. So you already know anything is possible with the biddy. Headline reads, how high can the Bitcoin price go before Trump's inauguration? I think we have between 2 to 3 months. I think it's January 20th, which is when he begins in office. He's going to free Ross Ulbricht and fire Gary Gensler. Make some noise for that. So yeah, several analysts predict further Bitcoin highs as the market participants anticipate a more crypto-friendly business environment under Trump. Bitcoin price will likely breach 100,000 following the election win. I couldn't agree more. I think that's an easy peasy target in my opinion. Heck, we're only 23,000 away from the new all-time high, which we hit 77. So yeah, Lee, the chief analyst at BitGet, said the high open interest in the futures market, along with the increasing market dominance of the stablecoin, suggesting markets are positioning themselves for the higher volatility for the price of the biddy. Quoting him here, with the market cap of stablecoins hitting a new high, with fluctuating around 160 billion, there is room for significant leverage in the market, potentially pushing the Bitcoin price to reach 100,000 within the next 3 months. Let me know if you agree, disagree. My personal target is 124,000, and I think that's very realistic. It's also the cup and handle target on the weekly chart, which I shared earlier when we pulled up the live charts. Now, similar predictions were made in a November 6th report by digital asset custodian Copper, which says Bitcoin's upward trajectory may continue into the new year with 100 G's. Bebe. Get ready for that 100K fiesta here in Puerto Rico, fam. Trump's win reflects heightened market optimism and anticipation of a potentially the policy shifts favorable for the digital assets, said Foddy, head of research at Copper, sharing here. At 100,000, Bitcoin is quite possible by the time the 47th U.S. president heads to the Capitol for the inauguration, January 20th, with ETFs holding approximately 1.1 million Bitcoin. Now, Copper's prediction was based on the historical spot Bitcoin ETF accumulation trends and current market data. Quoting them again, we have back-tested the ETF accumulation trend against potential price ranges. Trump's second term is viewed as bullish for the crypto space, where many participants expect clearer crypto regulations that favor blockchain innovation. Still, Lee said Trump's policies may mean inflation in the world's largest economy, which will remain above 3.5% in the medium to long term. We all know inflation is like 20 to 30%, but whatever BS they want to tell us, sure, you got inflation under control, under 2%, 3%. Whatever. Keep fibbing. Whatever. In a November 7th post, analyst Gert Van Lagen said Bitcoin's price surged beyond the key accumulation phase of the descending broadening wedge, indicating a potential parabolic move towards the $200,000 zone. Quoting him here alongside the chart, Bitcoin has broken out of the reaccumulation descending broadening wedge, ready to parabolically hit the 200,000 plus zone. Also, Max Kaiser's calling for 220,000 in play here in Q4. So let me know if you guys agree or disagree with some of this bullishness. His chart reveals the reaccumulation phase, a consolidation period between the Bitcoin price rally earlier this year, seems to be nearing its end as the Bitcoin is back in price discovery. Next projected target is between 90 and 100,000, with the ultimate goal of reaching 200,000 per Bitcoin by May of 2025. Quoting Lark Davis, we are most likely going to see 100,000 Bitcoin in the next 3 months. I couldn't agree more. Let me know if you agree or disagree before we dive into our feature story of the day. Now for our feature story of the day. PlanB's Bitcoin price roadmap to 1 million per coin starts playing out with the Trump win. Here's the rest of his prediction and timeline. Let's break this baby down. And welcome everyone just joining us. The crypto industry has been riddled with intense activity in the past few weeks, coinciding with a run before and after the U.S. elections. In fact, we have broken out to a new all-time high 4 or 5 times since then. Much of the activity has been centered on the Bitcoin price. All eyes on the biddy. The Bitcoin price first broke above 70,000 late October, just as the U.S. election campaigns drew to a close, which ultimately resulted in Trump being elected as the next president in November, and he takes office Jan 20th, giving us roughly 60 to 90 days. Now, interestingly, these events and their timelines were predicted on social media by PlanB. Particularly, these predictions were the first two in a longer outlook of the Bitcoin price reaching $1 million. So let's share where it all started. Here's some receipts. PlanB made this tweet back on September 24th. It got 2.8 million views, 17,000 likes, and 4.1 thousand shares. He wrote, just a scenario. October, classic pump month, Bitcoin, 70 Gs. Nailed it. November, Trump wins election, ends the Democrats, Biden-Harris, Warren-Gensler war on crypto. Nailed it. Bitcoin, 100,000. In play. December, massive ETF inflow. Bitcoin, 150,000. January, crypto people and companies return to the U.S. Bitcoin, 200,000. February, power law crew sells. Bitcoin, 150,000. March, Bitcoin, legal tender in Bhutan, Argentina, and Dubai. Bitcoin, 300,000. April, Trump and U.S. starts building strategic Bitcoin reserve. Bitcoin, 400,000. May, other countries except the EU join the rat race. Bitcoin, 500 Gs. June, several AIs start using Bitcoin to autonomously trade, TradFi. Bitcoin, 600 Gs. July, December, face-melting FOMO. Bitcoin hits $1 million per coin. Let's go. 2026, distribution phase. Bitcoin back to $500,000. And in 2027, bear market, Bitcoin bottom to $200,000, which is $0.2 million. Shout out to PlanB on this prediction. So according to that, these predictions were merely the beginning of a more extensive roadmap, which could ultimately lead Bitcoin to reaching 1 million by next year in 2025. PlanB's vision for Bitcoin's price trajectory is an ambitious roadmap that began with the October surge to 70,000. Next, he predicted the Trump election victory in November, which just occurred, which would eventually end the Biden-Harris war against their war on crypto and set the stage for the Bitcoin price to reach 100 Gs before December. After this, PlanB anticipates a massive wave of capital from new Bitcoin ETFs to drive the Bitcoin price up to 150,000 by the end of December this year. 150 Gs. Let's go. And by January of next year, which is in a couple of months, he foresees a resurgence of crypto companies back to the U.S., which could push the price further to 200,000. However, he suggested some early investors may cash out in February 2025, which would cause a brief dip back to 150. March 2025 will arrive with another upswing to 300,000 as Bitcoin becomes legal tender in countries like Bhutan, Argentina, and Dubai. Now, April 2025 will see the U.S. begin accumulating Bitcoin as a strategic reserve under Trump's administration, which he has announced, and Cynthia Lummis we covered earlier in the show, which would drive the price to 400,000 per coin. The ripple effect of this move is expected to continue into May of 2025 as many other countries start to follow in the footsteps of the U.S. We call this game theory. This, in turn, would drive Bitcoin to 500,000 in May 2025. The analyst envisions AI-powered trading algorithms to start start using Bitcoin in arbitrage trading in traditional finance, which could cause a surge to 600,000 in June of next year. Notably, PlanB expects a crazy FOMO phase to kick in after this with a relentless wave of buying between July and December of 2025. That would cause the Bitcoin price to peak above 1 million per coin. However, he projects that the peak will lead to a distribution phase in 2026, resulting in Bitcoin pulling back to 500,000. The roadmap then forecasts a bear market by 2027, with the Bitcoin price eventually finding a bottom near 200 Gs. Send it. So you already know. Let me know if you agree, disagree with PlanB and some of his bullishness in which he projects in this timeline. Again, a couple of the first predictions have already come true. Will his predictions continue to come true? And does Bitcoin have the potential to reach 1 million or more by next year in 2025? Let me know your thoughts, family, and I'll read your comments out loud.